This is the 7th generation Hyundai Elantra, a car which started off as a nondescript can on wheels, but over the years it has transformed into a miniature Audi A7 Sportback.
The Audi reference is not an accident, as the current head of design for Hyundai is Luc Donckerwolke. Yes, the same Luc Donckerwolke who designed for Audi, Bentley, Lamborghini, Seat and Skoda. At Hyundai, Donckerwolke replaced another Audi veteran, Peter Schreyer. Although the 7th Gen Elantra exterior was designed by a Korean, Beom-soo Cho, the VW Group influence is clearly visible. The front is dominated by the new parametric design grille, which we've seen in the new Tucson. This time, though, the headlights are separate rather than being incorporated in the parametric grille. The bonnet starts low and it seems to be stretched forward. That's because of the reflective elements in the lower corners of the bumper. They create this optical illusion of overhangs being much longer and the front being much slimmer. This illusion disappears when you're looking at the car from the profile. However, here your attention is drawn to the lines which form an arrow-like design across the side. It gets more interesting in the rear, where the roofline goes straight into the rear window and from there it flows seamlessly into the boot lid. There is also a light bar going all the way across the back, and that also makes the Elantra look like an Audi A7 Sportback. However, the A7 is a liftback, whereas the Elantra remains a sedan.
The compact sedan is almost extinct in Europe. On the old continent, it is offered in Bulgaria, Poland, Romania and then further east. However, the Elantra is doing fine in the Americas and the Middle and Far East. Until recently, it was Hyundai's best-selling model, only to be recently dethroned by the Tucson.
In Europe, the closest to Elantra is the i30 Fastback, but the 465cm long Elantra is almost 20 cm longer than the i30-based liftback. The Elantra is also 3 cm wider and has 7 cm longer wheelbase. Also, the Elantra is still made on a different platform. It may be a new platform for the 7th gen, but it's still different to the one on which the compact Hyundais are built in Europe.
The boot, at 474 liters, it seems only ever so slightly bigger than in the i30, which has 450 liters. However, in the i30 Fastback, there is a double floor and dividers underneath. And here in the Elantra, what you see is what you get. Also, the Elantra gets a spare wheel. That's what you get in Eastern markets. Folding the rear seats is done with a pull on a lever here in the boot. There are no shopping bag hooks, unfortunately, and no grip to close the lid, so you have to touch the exterior of the car, which may be unpleasant in the winter when the car is dirty. And speaking of dirt, you need to hire someone to keep your Elantra spotless at all times, because this car is just too striking to drive around filthy.
Not much is happening in the back. There is good legroom and surprisingly good headroom for this car shape. There is a place for bottles in the door bins and cup holders in the armrest. However, there is no ski hatch. Side seats are heated, there are air vents but no USB ports. If you really want to charge, you can run a cable from the armrest storage in the front. The Elantra cockpit is impressive. Across the dashboard, there is a panel with two displays. One is the instrument cluster with virtual dials, and the other one in the center is the infotainment display. But you're probably wondering about the white circle on the door side.
Initially, I assumed, and don't assume anything because that makes an ass of you and me, there is some sort of a warning light here, but I was wrong. So my second thought was that perhaps this is a touch panel for the lights or something, but it is not. So apparently this is just a design feature, but I have a better idea. Taxi drivers often mount their sat-nav here, so I've got a suction mount for my phone. Okay. This is a cheap suction mount. Anyway, so where do you want to go, Gov?
Speaking of phones, of course, there's a phone cubby at the bottom of the center console, and it even comes with an induction charger and a cooling fan for it. Above, there are two USB ports and a 12-volt socket. Not the best place because there's really no place for cables. And cables you will need, as Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are not wireless. This is yet another Hyundai with the sounds of nature being played every time the infotainment system can't find the last played source. So if you're listening to something via Android Auto and you unplug your phone, you're going to get sounds of nature. I'm yet to find a setting which would disable this feature. I like that there are some physical buttons for the infotainment and the climate control. Unfortunately, some are just under the display, and as I was setting the sat-nav, I accidentally pressed the media button, which results in, you'll never guess, playing the sounds of nature. The gear lever still has physical linkage with the transmission. The lever is large and comfortable, especially if you like to keep your hand on the lever, even though this is an automatic. Next are two cup holders with this clever insert which makes them deeper or shallower. Then there is the armrest with some storage underneath. This is where the third USB port I mentioned earlier is located.
In some markets, the Elantra is available also as a hybrid, but here in Poland, we only get the 123 horsepower 1.6-liter MPI motor. Hyundai made the Elantra even less powerful than the previous time. This is a normally aspirated engine without stop and start. The only potential weird thing about this drivetrain is the optional CVT, and if I didn't read this in the spec sheet, I probably wouldn't have noticed it's a CVT. However, the biggest change is the new platform and the resulting improvements. Hyundai claims the K3 platform means lower mass, better fuel economy and greater rigidity. The center of gravity is now lower, which should impact handling as well. So, how's the fuel economy? Hyundai promises 6 liters per 100 kilometers combined. I'm getting high 7, so it's similar to the last gen. According to the spec sheet, the new Elantra is around 40 kilograms lighter than the previous model. That's about half a passenger.
Hyundai also claims 0 to 100 km per hour in 10.6 seconds with the manual transmission and 10.7 seconds with CVT. On wet tarmac I got 10.9 with CVT, but then I'm not planning to race the Elantra. It's quicker than the old one, which took more than 11.6 seconds to reach 100 km per hour.
So, how is the new but less powerful Elantra quicker than the 6th gen model? I don't think the 40 kilograms make that much of a difference, but I suspect better aerodynamics as well as the CVT are the main factors here. Instead of wasting fractions of seconds for upshifts, here the continuously variable transmission continuously adjusts the gear ratio to whatever is happening. Handling. Before I read the press release and found out about the new platform and what it's supposed to do, I felt the Elantra handles better than the previous model. It may not offer breathtaking performance, but it's agile, the steering is direct, and the suspension, and I keep saying this in my recent Hyundai reviews, finally has reached a stage where it rides nicely. Nothing like the hollow-sounding thumps in the Korean cars 10 years ago.
Soundproofing is adequate. I suspect aerodynamics help. Visibility is okay, the seats are comfortable. I could daily the Elantra
if not for the driver aids. This is the last stronghold of the old Hyundai. Everything beeps. You want to change lanes, warning because there is a car a mile behind you. You're trying to avoid a sewer cover and there is a warning. Cars are starting to slow down a mile ahead and there is a warning. I managed to find some driver aids intensity settings and tone the thing down a bit. But, now the Elantra warns me only about events on the horizon rather than those happening in the other hemisphere. This is something that Hyundai and Kia need to work on. I'm really interested how they have implemented driver aids in the new Ioniq 5 and the EV6, which I'll be driving soon, so stay tuned for that.
Price of the new Elantra start, and this time I'm giving you a rough conversion from Polish zloty into euro, 17,500 euro. There are 3 trims and all are available either with manual transmission or CVT. This test car is the top trim executive model with CVT for about 26,000 euro, plus paint and the leather pack, which brings the total price up to about 28,500 euro.
The 7th generation Hyundai Elantra is an elegant, spacious and comfortable car, which doesn't aspire to be fast or powerful. This is exactly what you need for your daily driver. Not everybody requires or wants 500 horsepower. Some people just like nice looking cars. And how do you like the new Elantra? Let me know in the comment section below.
If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.